Hello, shoot the defense. Oh, I said that a bit too loud. My next door neighbours are going to fucking freak out. Hello, shoot the defense. Hello, like that guy from what was that prank call program? What was it called again?
What Trigger Happy TV?
Yeah.
Got the massive hello.
Yeah. I'm in the library. I'm doing a test.
I'm in the sperm bank. Fucking up. Anyway, welcome to Shoot the Defense. It's our second show in as many weeks. So yeah, and it's the same gentlemen that have joined me, D-Man and Dubul Dee from the D&D Footy Factory. How you doing, boys?
What up? Good, man.
Archie.
I'm all right, you know. Just watched a sublime game of football, so I'm feeling good, bro.
Sublime for you when you're a Pep guy. Oh, sorry.
Wonderful. Well, I need to say thank you for joining me so late in the evening because it's 10:20. And I know everyone's got work in the morning, so we'll try and keep this as brief as we possibly can. But I guess there's only one place to start, boys, and we've just watched Man City absolutely demolish Real Madrid. I think the last time Real Madrid lost like that was when they got battered by Liverpool, wasn't it? Wasn't it the 5-0 when you guys
the 4-0? Yeah, 2009. Yeah, 4-4.
It was 4. What did I think it was 5? Was it 5-0 in aggregate or was it 4? I don't know.
Yeah, 5-0 in aggregate. Yeah, because Benayoun scored at their gaff.
Yeah, so you dicked them 4-0 at your place, and City dicked Real Madrid 4-0. And D-Man, like, I'm not trying to be funny, but this is something that we spoke about off air, so to speak, or off recording. When I look at this Real Madrid team, I don't mean this in any disrespect at all, because people are going to reel off names of great players that they've got, but I had no feeling that Real Madrid would get anything out of this game before kickoff. None whatsoever. And it just tells me that, is it a lack of quality? Is it age? Or are just City too fucking good? Or maybe it's just all three. I don't know.
Well, I think obviously going into the game, City were favourites, given their home form in Europe especially. I can't remember the last time they lost a game at the Etihad. And despite what people say, the Etihad Champions League nights do create an atmosphere, and it is an intimidating place to go. But when you look at the Real Madrid side, I think although City were favourites, you still had players that could turn up and cause problems, the likes of Modric. Personally, I think Cruz has been done for a while. But Modric, Vinny, Benzema on his day, if he gets a sniff, Camavinga, you know, you've got players that are comfortable and they're good footballers. So if City didn't turn up or you know, allowed Real Madrid a sniff, I think many people thought they could make this a contest, because this is what they do. They've got so much experience. We saw what they did last season, round after round after round. I think people thought they could recreate that in some shape or form against City, but they came up against an informed Man City team who play the best football that in Europe, arguably. All their players are on form. Confidence is high. Pep is not making, you know, they've changed the way they approach games. I remember a couple of seasons ago when Pep said Man City aren't ready to win the Premier League, the Champions League. And he was right, because the way they approach games and the way they lost their heads and stuff like that. But now they're playing a completely different brand of football in Europe than they are in the Premier League. And they seem to have learned from past mistakes. So I actually predicted a 3-0 for Man City. Put a bet on it, cashed that at 3-0. But yeah, it was a comprehensive beatdown. Yeah, great to watch.
For you, mate.
But you have to give Pep credit for the way he approached both legs against Madrid. I think the benefit was that they had the first leg in the Bernabeu, but they've gone to Madrid and they haven't looked out of place. They looked confident. They looked, even when they went a goal down, they didn't panic when previously they would have tried to go gun-ho and then get caught on a break. They just took their time, picked them off, and then they just knew that, you know, we'll take it back to ours and we'll give you the work. And they did. They picked them off. They chose their moments well. You know, they defended when they needed to defend. You know, they sat back when they needed to. And they caused problems. I mean, Courtois had to make some outstanding saves. And let's be honest, he's the best keeper in the world. But he had to put 4 past him. Yeah, you can't argue with that, bro. Just comprehensive, great play by Man City.
Do you know what has impressed me most about City, especially in recent weeks? Forget the variation that they have in terms of the squad depth and the ability, which we already knew that they had. But what Guardiola has done, especially this season, he's kind of gone free at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He goes free at the back, and he's got a Kanji, Diaz, and
Stones,
right? As the three centre backs, and well, actually, he starts. Okay, let me rephrase myself. He starts off with a 4 because he includes Kyle Walker there, right? Yeah. But in certain phases, depending on where the ball is, defenders will reshuffle their position. So I've seen a Kanji move to like a left wing back position.
Yep.
And when he does that, Carl Walker will move in as a centre back,
right,
alongside Stones and
right, and then they'll switch it. Stones will go forward, and then Kanji will sit back in. It's a joy to watch, bro. It's
because Walker's only just come back into the team. To be fair. Right. Because I was saying because of how well they've been working, and then Stones had been in mid and coming that inverted role and whatnot. He's just
even Rico Lewis. They've had Rico Lewis coming in.
Yeah, Rico Lewis done a good job.
Than Walker. But what I'm also impressed with, sorry to cut you, though, is that both Pep learned from the first leg as well. They've used Haaland as a decoy. Yeah, they've made him occupy 1 or 2 defenders, leaving a man free, leaving Bernardo sit free in this leg. Even Grealish free in the other leg, or De Bruyne. They're so focused on Haaland because of what the damage he can do that it's freed up the space. It's very. I don't think Pep expected Haaland to get many chances today or even score today. But it's like stay up there, occupy the centre backs, and let the others work around. But it's very clever, very clever.
Yeah. And all season, Guardiola has always had this mentality where it's like we're not gonna sit back and soak pressure for large periods of the game. Like, for example, the beginning of the second half, all right, I think the game was done and dusted anyway, but the beginning of the second half, they went flat 4-4-2.
Yeah.
And they soaked up a bit of pressure in the first 10, 15 minutes because I think they knew that Real Madrid would come at them. But then it was just setting traps.
Yeah.
That's effectively what they were doing. They were setting traps. And then, we saw De Bruyne bombing forward. As you mentioned, Haaland was being a bit of a decoy. Grealish was giving fucking the right back all sorts of hell.
He was. He
Carvajal. Oh God, I don't know.
He couldn't cope. He couldn't cope with Grealish. He couldn't cope.
And then you got Rodri and Gundogan in the middle. They made Modric and Kroos look like fucking amateurs, man. They were just a different level. And the thing is, they set the tone in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game anyway, where they just bombarded them. And again, I think that's something Real Madrid didn't expect. Because I don't know how many teams have actually gone full pelt at Real Madrid in the opening stages of games this season.
Well, we've seen in big games this season and last season, especially against the English teams, we've seen teams start like that. But usually then Madrid get 1 or 2 chances or even score. But City just kept their foot on their neck. And I'm sitting there, I'm waiting for my Real Madrid moment so I can start chatting whatever. And it didn't really come today. I was disappointed in Benzema, but I don't think he's fully fit. But even still, I expected more because he's a world-class performer. And him 60-70% fit is still better than like 90 or 95% for Southampton. It never came. So you have to give full credit to City. They did not stop.
Can we talk about the job Carl Walker did on Vinny? Yeah, because there was a moment in that first half when he gave Vinny 1 or 2 yards and he caught him.
And then he came back, and then he won.
But he shackled him all game. Shut him down all game. And I've never seen anyone shut down Vinny like that. Vinny normally gets 1 or 2 opportunities. Nah, not today.
And the thing is, of what he did really well. But Madrid didn't get the ball to Vinny in certain areas enough because of how dominant City were for him to even punish them. You know what I mean?
But even after the first goal, I think you could see Vinny telling to the push up because he was by himself. He was getting no support because City just smothered them, absolutely smothered them from minute 1 to minute 90. They couldn't cope. They could not cope. And Bernardo Silva, what a performance, man! What a performance! Yeah.
Well, do you remember at the beginning of the season they were talking about him possibly going to Arsenal? Yeah. People were saying that he's done at City. Well, he scored 2 goals and now in the Champions League final.
Listen,
yeah,
different gravy. But they all, to a man, they all performed very well today. So the treble's still on. The trouble is still on, well and truly on.
Yep. So it ended 4-0 to City. I don't really want to wax lyrical too much about them because I think all the press are going to do that for us. But so what does this mean for Real Madrid then? Because I'm not a religious viewer of La Liga, so I couldn't tell you where they are in the table. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't watch La Liga as much as I used to.
They're clinging on the second.
Right. Yeah. So when I look at, I mean, my favorite Real Madrid team, okay, it wasn't the Galacticos that didn't win the Champions League with Ronaldo. It was probably, back when Zidane was playing with Figo and Casillas had just broke into the first team. When Zidane scored that goal against Leverkusen in the final.
Yeah.
But then we saw, obviously, the Real Madrid that beat Liverpool, not the second final, but the first one, Bale scored those 2 goals. Across that team, it had quality. Marcelo, Bale, Ronaldo, Benzema at his pomp. Obviously, the Kroos and Modric in the middle here, but Casemiro. I look at this Real Madrid squad. I can't think of, aside from probably Vinicius and maybe Valverde, I can't think of any other world talents. And this isn't a knock on Modric. I'm just saying this because he's on his last legs. Kroos is on his last legs.
Yeah.
On the field, in terms of the 10 players, the outfield players, only 2 of those that I really rate. What's his name? Militao, sorry. I don't fully rate him. The right back, I think he's done out here, isn't he? He's done.
Yeah, Carvalho, he's done.
Carvalho's done. The left back isn't even a left back.
Is Mendy injured or Mendy was on the ball?
Mendy's just come back. Mendy's just come back from injury, but he lost his place before he got injured. But I thought with the job that Rudiger did last week, I thought it would have made sense to start Rudiger at the back with Militao and play Alaba left back.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
You get what I'm saying? That's what I would have thought.
They've still got components there, and they are building for the future because they've got Tchouaméni, they've got Camavinga, they've got who's playing out of position. They've got. It looks like they're going to get Bellingham. The next stop will be Mbappe in the next season or 2. They'll get Mbappe. So they've got Vinny. So there's promise there that they will always be there or thereabouts for the next few years. I don't think it's time for them to panic. I think the biggest thing will be replacing Modric because what he brings to the team. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's finished, but they're going to have to start thinking about who's next in line to replace him, because I get the midfield of Tchouaméni, Bellingham, and eventually Camavinga, but where's the flair? Where's the creativity? You know what I mean? So they're going to have to find someone to fill that mold. They've got Valverde, he's a very good player as well. Rodrigo, I still think is decent. So I think they're not the powerhouse names that they used to have, but I think those days are really gone, because which team really has powerhouses, at the moment? And if they do they work? Look at PSG, they're a mess. Man City haven't got powerhouses. They ain't got superstar names across the board, but they've got a very balanced team, and they, that's why they're so strong. But they'll be all right, man. They'll be all right. I mean, they've lost La Liga this season. I think Ancelotti will go now. It's just a case of who they bring in to replace him. That's the interesting thing, because a lot of the top managers already in the Premier League. They already had Zidane. I don't think he'd go back. So where do they go next? I think from a managerial standpoint, I think that's the main thing they need to think about.
Where's that music coming from? It sounds like you're in a lift. Someone's in a lift.
Yeah, I know. I heard it, but I don't know where it's coming from.
Music?
Yeah. Yes, I'm beat playing, bro.
Where's that coming from? That's just the TV.
Housekeeping. Come on now.
Yeah. But I just think the fallout is a bit. I think there's a bit of hyperbole. They've just been beaten by Manchester City, and even during the game, the way that they were talking during the game, Madrid were just a bunch of individuals, this, that, and the next. They won the league and they won the Champions League last season. I just think that it's overreaction to defeat. Nobody does that every single season.
No, I don't know, bro. Do you know what? Normally I would agree with you, but the way that they were taken apart, man.
That's it. It's the manner of the defeat.
That's what it is. The first 20 minutes, they said that City had 78% possession of the ball. The first 15, 20 minutes. It wasn't the first 5 minutes. It was the first 15, 20 minutes.
I hear
they had
you.
10 touches in the opposing area, Real Madrid.
I hear
and
you.
Man City had 192 or some stupidness like that. It's nonsense.
I hear that, but with the partisan, it's obviously because we're watching Champions League football, BT Sport. But with some of the partisan commentary that you have, they drop bits of this last season each round, and they came back and won and shut them up. You get what I'm saying, bruv? So now, because they've lost when they won the Champions League last season, don't get twisted. This carries on into next season, then I get it, because Barcelona have been outstanding at the back and have gone through and won the Liga early, usually then it gets won. But I think, considering what they've won in the last few years, I don't look at it as being like, at least they've got to a semi-final. Some teams, like, you expect to do great things, might go in the last 16. But I don't think it's as bad as it's being perceived. It's got beaten by a team who's better than them in both legs, whereas they've played a similar type of style. Obviously, they've made one or two more chances, and they've been able to come back and beat teams. But City were clinical today, and they dealt with them.
Of course.
Because in the first game, City were much better, and then when Madrid came back into it, then Madrid should have scored a few times, but Edison was on job, and then they've come out, they got a very good 1-1 draw. But, you know.
For me, it just goes back to what I've been saying for quite a while now, and I think the standard and the quality of football has dropped so much globally. It really has.
Yeah, I've been saying that for them. It has really for the best part. It has for the best part of like 10, 12, you could say 15 years. It's dropped.
Yeah. Now, here's the other question. Again, I didn't mean to bring this up because I know, again, a lot of other pods are going to be talking about it, but the amount of money that's in the Premier League, right? Obviously, that's something that you can't control because the Premier League is the most viewed league in the world. It's the most financially viable. It's the most profitable, and a lot of companies want to buy into it, blah, 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 blah. And you can talk about the financial disparity between the Premier League and other leagues, because I think if you end up bottom of the league in the Premier League, you actually earn more money than if you would by winning La Liga, which is an incredible...
And the Bundesliga as well.
Okay.
And so that will go for numerous other leagues.
Right. So it's no surprise that a lot of Spanish, Italian, German clubs want to create their own Super League so they can be their own entity and be away from the Premier League. But the fact is, the way I see it, and again, it boils down to money clearly, but when the new TV deal happens with the Premier League, I get the feeling there's going to be a lot of pay-per-view involved, especially with the clubs. They're probably going to have an agreement with the stations or whoever picks it up, and they're going to say, look, we need a certain percentage of pay-per-view games on our own platforms, and they'll profit even more from it, the clubs, which makes the financial revenue even greater and makes them even more powerful. And again, this could be, as you said, a knee-jerk reaction to City's win. But I think today just showed the gulf in power between the two clubs financially. Now, you could say Real Madrid, one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world in terms of fan base, yada, yada, yada. But do they really have the financial clout that City do?
How much are they buying Bellingham for?
Who? Real Madrid?
Real Madrid.
Have they actually got him?
No, I'm saying, what's the figure touted?
You said it's probably going to be about 110, 120. Right?
How much did they buy? How much did they spend in the summer? How much? So this is what I don't understand, because Real Madrid have, of all people, Real Madrid cannot say nothing, because I get they generate a lot of money themselves commercially in that. But when you're buying Eden Hazard for 100 and odd million, yeah, and not playing him one bit, yeah, you bought Camavinga, you've bought everybody that they buy is for. Look how much they were offering for Mbappe, yeah, like it's and the wages that they pay. First of all, teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid take care of home first before you start talking about the Premier League. Now, listen, I agree the Premier League makes a hell of a lot of money, yeah, and it's ludicrous. But at the same time, no one told Real Madrid and Barcelona to hog all the TV right money and then give the rest of the 18 teams pittance, whatever, to divvy amongst themselves. Like, sort your own backyard out first before you come and talk about the Premier League. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. No one told Bayern Munich to teeth all the other players, good players from their teams in their league, talking about, we can't afford it. You bully every other team in your league, bro. Yeah? take care of your own thing first before you talk about. And then, where was this complaint when everyone was watching La Liga TV and the Spanish league was dominating Europe, or when Italy was dominating the Europe before? Remember, all the world records were broken by AC Milan, Inter Milan back in the day. Yeah, no one didn't care about the English league. Yeah, so now they've got all the money and they're spending, and all the best players and the best managers are going to the Premier League. It's a problem. It makes no sense.
I remember when Milan spent 13 million on Lentini from Torino, and that was like the world's record transfer. And then Real Madrid broke the transfer record by signing Kaká, and then a couple of weeks later they broke it again by signing Ronaldo.
Yeah, they broke the record by buying Zidane. They broke it by buying Ronaldo, not Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo, Kaká. They bought Robinho for mad money. Like, it's just they've been spending money for decades, bro. And no one ain't batted the island, because that's what Real Madrid do. Yeah, remember, Man City don't break records. Man City don't really break records. Yeah, they buy players and they spend a bit of money. They spend a lot of money on a lot of players. But when have Man City broken records? Man United have broken more records than Man City. Like Liverpool, Newcastle. You know what I mean? It's madness.
What was the breach? When they signed Grealish, was that for a breach record transfer?
Right. Yeah, that's the first time they did it.
Yeah,
that's the first time they did it. Yeah, 100 million. Yeah, but since then, Haaland for 50, Alvarez for how much? You know what I mean? It's and they've sold players. Yeah, Jesus and Zinchenko. Yeah, Liverpool bought Van Dijk for money, Alisson for money, but it's nothing compared to what Real Madrid do on a regular basis. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's Barcelona in how much debt they've got, breaking all sorts of financial regulations, but still managed to buy this one for that much, and that much. It makes no sense. No sense.
So, back to Real Madrid then. How many players do you think they'll need to come in to make this club at least challenge for Europe again next season?
Listen, that team alone will be there again next season.
There's young players in there, just like never played them all at the same time. So as you said earlier, in terms of Mbappe, whether it will be a striker for Benzema, who can still do really well. It's just that recently, since he's come back from the injury, and recently he's not really done anything. There's not too much that they need. That's what I'm saying in terms of that. They're still going to challenge for things next season. Don't be surprised if they reach a semi-final again and then maybe lose the semi-final again next season. Especially if Don Carlos stays there for one more year. It's still going to be there or back. Just in case it might not be winning at the rate that he were. Because to be honest, the rate that they've been winning the Champions League at anyway, it would have been ridiculous for them to win it again this season anyway. You get what I'm saying? So because that would have been what? In the Champions League era, since it changed from the European Cup, that would have been, if they could have won it this year, that would have been their 9th. And they went from 2002 to 2014 without winning it. So take out them 12 years, the amount of they've been winning it is stupid. So that's why I'm saying in terms of that, they should be more concerned about how Barca, who are still building down to that phase, and one or two of the signs they may have really worked. Rafinha's not been outstanding for Barcelona. He's been all right. And they've barely paid Frank Kessié. So there was no point in Kessié leaving AC Milan, though obviously I understand it was a free, etc. So Barca was still growing. So the fact in terms of how Barca have won the league so early, that would be more of a concern that's happened here in the Champions League, to be honest. If they add Bellingham, another striker come in, etc., they're going to be there or thereabouts again.
Speaking about Ancelotti, though, is it true that he's never retained a league title?
Yeah, I'm sure that is true, actually.
I don't know.
That is wild.
As far as I know, that's correct, yeah.
That is wild. Yeah, for such a great manager, that is wild, bro.
True, but because of his European
pedigree, bro.
Ventures, I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let him off the hook.
He's top 5 of all time. He's top 5 of all time, but that
for sure
is it's a damning stat against him. But he's still a legend, bro. Still a legend.
All right, well, City, they're going to face Internazionale.
Yay! Come on.
They beat AC Milan 1-0. Was it 3-0 in aggregate, if I'm not mistaken?
Come on, D. Come on.
Would you believe it? Fucking Matteo Darmian, Mkhitaryan, Edin Dzeko, and Lukaku are going to be in a European final, a
And
Champions
they're going
League
to
final.
get runners-up medals. Madness.
This guy, you watch.
They're getting smoked, bro.
Zeko got a body his own club. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I didn't watch I didn't watch that semi-final, to be honest. I used to watch Milan.
The first leg was really good. This second leg was a bit.
Yeah.
I expected more from AC.
I'm just a football snob, you know. And when I remember Milan derbies, it was the three Germans against the three Dutch. You know, that's when I remember Milan derbies.
Proper derby, yeah.
To be honest, in the last, I was even saying that on the show on Saturday, but I think the footage has just gone up. In the last 5-6 seasons, especially, the Milan derby's there's been a lot of cracking Milan derbies in league and in cup.
Yeah. I've watched a couple of them, and they're tasty affairs, man. Tasty affairs. But I mean, I'm happy that Italy has got a representative in the final, because I think that league has been disrespected for a long time. So it's good to see them. You know, I would have preferred it to be AC Milan because that's my Italian team. But Inter Milan do have European pedigree, and you know, the Italian league is not as bad as people say it is. Don't get me wrong, I know it's corrupt as hell, but it's not as bad as people say it is. But I just don't give them a prayer in the final. I know upsets can happen, but City ain't letting this slip twice. They're not. Like, that will be a huge shock. A huge shock if they can pull off something. Don't get me wrong, they're in very good form at the moment. Inter Milan.
Tell Pep to pay a DM this time, yeah.
I don't think they need one this time, bro. It's that deep, bro.
When Inter play that many in midfield, that will be murder. City will get overrun, bro. Inzaghi's just come play the same formation that Conte was playing, the three centre half, wing backs, three in the centre. You get what I'm saying? And they play with two strikers that they might as well throw Lukaku in for the final. That rarely anybody does in Europe. So City with that high line, all it takes, City can dominate all the possession. All it takes is one slip up into a ring.
But that's what they thought that Real Madrid would do. But it's a bit.
Yeah, but I'm saying two strikers. I hear you because of the names, but Madrid play a 4-3-3. I'm saying with two strikers with a high line, that's all it takes. One error. Doesn't matter if you've had 90% possession in the half.
Yeah, but by that time they would have scored 3 or 4 by already, so they can make the error. They could make the error.
And the joke is, back time ago,
going to blank in a final, bro.
Back time ago, I told the people then that Inter final and that so if Inter do the crown from not even intending to do that, I'll be getting £50 from there from someone. You get what I'm saying? So we'll see. But imagine already in finals, we can sit there and be like. Some people spoke about that. Obviously, that's international. This is the way some people were talking about the Euros.
Yeah, England, I know, mate.
England.
Yeah, but you're talking about England, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. International. What I'm just saying is that finals are one-offs. If it was 2 legs, you know what City would do to over 2 legs. It's a one-off final. That's the beauty of finals. You know what I'm saying?
Well, when is the final anyway? When is
June the 10th. Which is June the 10th. Damn near next season.
Right, so it's a month away, right? Round about a month away. So let's say 3 weeks. Yeah. City will win the league this weekend on Sunday, right? They're just going to rest their players for the last 2 games, right? They're going to have enough time to recover. Listen, I love Inter. They're my Italian team. They've been my Italian team since Klinsmann, since fucking Andy Bremer, since Lothar Matthäus. But
Ruben Sosa and the man them.
Yeah, Fonseca.
They need that rhythm for the FA Cup final. So I don't think they'll completely rest everyone for both games. I think they'll probably rotate half and half in the next week if they concede it on this weekend, and then get the rhythm going so they can go full pelt in the FA Cup final, and then even more in the Champions League final.
And Inter in their cup final as well, don't forget.
Well, I worry for Inter. I really do. And listen, Nima's a top bloke. He's a good mate. And I want them to win, for him as well. But I've got a horrible feeling it's going to be a cricket score, honestly. I don't know.
I will say this, though. If Pep does the treble, I'm going to get kicked off social media. Because
you should be kicked off already.
The amount of bullying I'm going to do, bro. Yeah? I'm going to actually obliterate some people. And there's a certain person and you don't even know him, but he's a podcast. He used to be on Filthy Fellas, isn't it? But I don't think he's there anymore. But I've saved his tweet from 4 years ago. Yeah, from 4 years ago when he called Pepper Check. What do you call him? A domestic bully. So he gets that championship.
Who was it? Scribs. Which one is it?
Yes. Yes. So when that comes up now, yeah, if he wins it, I'm bringing up that tweet and I'm going to blitz him, bro. Blitz him.
So a man, was he just talking strictly Prem? Because people talk about Pep Guardiola like he never won 2 Champions Leagues with Barcelona.
That,
it's really weird, that. But you know.
Exactly. Yeah, domestic bullying he called him. Yeah, I remember it. We went back and forth for a little bit, but he probably don't remember. But I do. Yeah, I do.
The one reservation I have about people using the whole he's a checkbook manager. The one reservation I have about that is, okay, you could argue he's got a bottomless pit and he can bring in any player he wants, but it's all well and good signing the player. But to get 11 players to play together for a start, to gel, is one thing. But to get them to play the way that he gets them to play is another thing. I mean, we've seen so many. I mean, look, I even mentioned the Galacticos before that didn't win the Champions League. Beckham, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Zidane, Figo. They didn't win the Champions League together. Yeah. I'll tell you what, they've been weaker Real Madrid teams that have gone on to win it. So for me, it doesn't matter how much you spend. It's what you do with the players that you have at your disposal. And if they're going to win the treble, you know, as a United fan, you know, it's going to be difficult and it's going to be a bitter pill to swallow. But you know, it's going to be, hats off to you because no other English team has done it apart from United. And for City to do it, it's different class.
3P is a madness.
Exactly. But you know what the thing is, what the next argument is going to be? What people are going to start saying is, which treble was better? Which team was better?
Well, they started it already. On Monday Night Football, they did a combined 11 of City this year and United in 99, and Gary Neville cheekily in his one brought all Man United starting 11 to start it off.
First of all, they haven't even achieved the treble just yet, so that conversation is pointless at this point in time. But if they do it, people will compare the two, and recency bias will have a lot of people vote for Man City because of the way they've done it. Yeah, people forget. It's easy to forget what Manchester United did because it was so long ago. Yeah, but this is the age of social media. Like the newest thing is the best thing, so that they'll immediately side with Man City.
Because it's all a game to get clicks. That's why. Yeah, and when you get the big bodies like the Skies and the ESPNs and that putting out trolling tweets and even copying a lot of normal people's tweets on social media, it's all to get clicks.
The thing is, right, what I don't like about these these combined 11s from the past and the present is that I think there are many things that players from the past couldn't do these days and vice versa. You know, there's certain things that players could get away with back then that they can't now. Yeah. I mean, look, Haaland maybe would be a goal scoring machine in 1999, but
his knees would have
coming up against the likes of Cannavaro, Nesta,
Stam. That's what I'm saying, because defending was much better then. Every position, not just centre halves, the fullbacks as well. Every position defending was much better, and that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that footy isn't as good. Because even as you said, obviously, sports science etc. have come on leaps and bounds, but these guys were playing 42 league games back in the day, and they were playing on Boxing Day, and then 2 days later, people are being arrested.
The state of the pitches around Christmas time.
This is what I'm saying. People nowadays are being arrested on a Sunday or Monday night for a game for the following Saturday. You get what I'm saying? So first of all, the amount of games they're playing, and with the amount of injuries that still come up, I don't even know how much, obviously, that it's improved things. It's just like in basketball, they have all this management. And people are the same injury, load management. That's the word I was looking for, loads. And people are still getting injured just as much, if not more than before. So it's even helping. So you get what I'm saying. So as you said, in terms of that, defending is the first part. Nowhere near as good. You've got a lot of fullbacks used to be wingers anyway, but now you're getting central midfielders being pushed back. Your centre mids before used to go play centre half. Now they've got centre mids, fullback. going to fullback, all this, and it's just some of what you see is just absolutely horrendous, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's what it is, man.
Yeah.
In terms of individual, I mean, not the tactics. I mean, the individuals are putting in poor performances, but in terms of the way the manager wants to play.
But again, it goes back to look. It's all, how can I put it? It's all objective, isn't it? And the thing is, you could argue that United winning the treble was probably the most exciting way to do it. They did it on the final day of the season, winning the league. They beat Bayern Munich 2 goals in the last 2 minutes. It's the drama. Then you got City fans who say, well, when they won the league with Aguero's winner, that was the most exciting title win ever, because that was literally on the last day. In fact, it was the last day of the season. Yep. But then you've got the Arsenal fans who say, well, we went the whole season unbeaten, and they cling on to that like it's the best achievement ever.
Because it gave them two. Because it gave them 2 trophies. Didn't? Oh no, sorry, it got 1. Okay, cool.
It just
but this is it. Like I don't want to take the gloss away from them winning the season unbeaten, because it's an incredible achievement. But the fact that it's always turned back to, well, okay, United did the treble. Well, we went the whole season unbeaten, but you got knocked out by Chelsea in the fucking Champions League, and Man United knocked out the cup.
You got knocked out of Europe. Thank you. There you go. By a team in the Premier League. And what you have to realize as well is that in this era now with VAR, it's literally impossible. You might do it with 37 wins and 1. So not 37. You might 1 defeat, okay, but that's still not being invincible. It's unlikely to happen, because even in that season alone, ref bottled a penalty for Fulham in that Arsenal season. Perez come out like 10 to 12 years later talking about he dived against Portsmouth to preserve the unbeaten streak. There's numerous different things that they wouldn't have been able to get away with today in regards to the way
and let's be honest, Liverpool
does things.
Liverpool, when they lost 1 game, and City when they lost 2 games, they don't play for draws, bro. They go out to win, bro. So
we lost 1 game. We lost. I didn't win the league. And before that, we were the only team to lose 2 games and not win the league.
It's mad. It's mad. But no, listen, take that away from the Invincibles anyway. It's a great achievement. I don't think we'll ever be matched again.
No.
Like you said, you have to look at put context behind it. But no, I don't think that team was not as good as the treble winning 1919, because to win 3 trophies in a season,
it's crazy.
It's a madness, bro. It is a madness. So, and even to get 100 points is a madness in a Premier League. It's mad.
And regardless of the Montreal screw job, the Nou Camp screw job that took place in that Champions League final in '99, their route to the final, United deserved a bit like the route at me. You know what I'm saying? So,
man.
They beat Inter away, home and away. Juventus 2-0 down against Juve. Barcelona were in the group stages. Bayern Munich were in the group stages.
You can go on madness, bruv.
Hey, listen, that duo, I've never seen a duo like that, bro. Listen, mad.
You know what I'm saying?
They were incredible. They were incredible. And the thing is that they weren't these world-class names at the time. You wouldn't have put Jurgen Cole up there with like Ronaldo and Zamorano. You wouldn't have put them up there with, who else was up front? Fucking it was, Del Piero and Inzaghi, wasn't it?
What, for Juve, you mean? Or just just talking strikers in general?
Well, just like, that era.
Batistuta was still banging in then. You get me?
Ronaldo, didn't it? Ronaldo played for Inter?
Ronaldo played, He played, so... He played in this. He played. Did he play in the first leg? I don't think he played in the first leg.
I think he missed one of the legs. If I remember,
it was Ventola and Zamorano up front.
Nicola Ventola. Because I remember there was a big thing about in the papers and that about how he was going to miss one of the legs, but I can't remember. Which one it was.
He played in the San Siro, didn't he?
Yeah.
So as for the final, boys, are we all saying that City are going to win this one, or is D going to go for Inter?
No, my heart's obviously going with Inter, but realistically, I think City will do it. But I think it will be tighter than 2-1. I think it will be much tighter.
Yeah, it's not going to be a slapping.
I don't think they're going to slap them. That's what I'm saying. Territorially, I think, but Inter like teams playing that. That's what I'm just saying.
I reckon a 1-0.
You know what I'm saying? Because whether it's Brozovic, said they play 3. Obviously, at the moment, the favoured midfield 3 for Inter is Barella, Mkhitaryan, and Çalhanoğlu. but you can put Brozovic in there, and all those players can score from long range. So they've got no problem with soaking up some City pressure if they can hit some shots. But what I will say is, the last couple of weeks, Edison has been alert, because I'm the first person to ask him randomness. In the last few weeks, he's been really alert because he does some absolute randomness sometimes.
He's probably got a howler coming at the weekend, bro. But he's been on job, to be fair. He has been on job. He made a good couple saves today. Yeah. He's come out, he's got commanded his box well. So it's credit to him, innit? But yeah, I reckon it'll be I expect City to win 1-0 or 2-0. I think. I don't think it's going to be a battering, but I expect them to do it.
Okay. Well, boys, before we talk about the top four, I want to talk about Arsenal Football Club, because I tried to tiptoe around Arsenal Football Club, because you know what it's like. You can't say anything about them on social media. And if you do say something, whether it be good or bad, someone's always going to pull you up on it. But I've come to a point where I don't give a fuck anymore, right? This team had an 8-point lead at the beginning of April. They've thrown it away. You can call it bottling it.
No, I just think they bottled.
Yeah, seven from 21. But apparently, though, and I've seen numerous people put it up, they're saying that the biggest bottle job was Liverpool in 2014, right? Whereas no Liverpool fan was coming and saying that, oh, look at the season we've had, even though it would have been a case of going from 7th to winning the league, right? Because even Everton came above us the season beforehand. But them going from 5th to 2nd now is being treated like, oh, but look at the season that we've had, etc.
Let's call it what it is.
You have had a great season, but they have in crunch time to take 9 points from 21 is absolute.
This is it, because at the end of the day,
you can't legislate for that.
As a Newcastle fan, this is the equivalent of Newcastle falling outside the top 4. We'll get to that anyway, yeah? At the beginning of the season, not many people had Arsenal in the top 4. I did, but not many people had Arsenal in the top 4, let alone challenging for the title. So you have to give them credit for where they finished and the run that they were on and the football that they played. Exceptional, deserved a round of applause. But as everyone keeps reminding them, targets change throughout the season. When you're 8 points clear, now, had it be a case of, you drop points to City, you drop points to Liverpool, you drop points to I don't know, the top teams in that particular run, it could be more understandable. But it's not like, yes, you have been exceptional on this run, but you had enough of a gap. And the teams you were playing, bar Liverpool, because going to Anfield is Anfield, isn't it? So I rate them for getting a point, regardless of the circumstances, 2-0 up, whatever. Getting a point is a good point. You then played relegation fodder, West Ham, gone 2-0 up, missed a penalty, and ended up drawing the game
2-2.
You've then gone to play Southampton.
And they almost lost it at the end, didn't they? Antonio hit the ball or something like that.
West Ham should have won that game. They should have won the game. You've then gone to play Southampton at home. Yeah, Southampton statistically by far the worst team in the league. Yeah, and you've allowed them to go 3-1 up, score inside how many seconds whatever, how many minutes, whatever. Go 2-0 up, get one back, then go 3-1 down, and end up drawing the game 3-3. And you want to talk about character to get back.
But you can tell then, obviously, the draw with Liverpool is, you can say, started that. But you can see, even though they pulled it back, because imagine they lost to 3-3 against Southampton, they went on the cameras on the players' faces. And whereas you should be trying to fill the fans up with belief and applauding and whatnot, before they actually went to go and fake the supporters that were still there, they were standing there with their hands on the hip. They looked so dejected. And I'm thinking, so how would your expressions have been if you had lost the game? You got what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
And this is why
body language, you could just tell.
Because even at the beginning of the season, people are trying to goad Arsenal fans into saying, oh, we're going to win the league, or we're in a title. And they, to their credit, they held off as long as they could. Yeah. But then all of a sudden, something just, a flick just switched, and they just got all bossy, bro.
Because it got to 8 points, every man started. Everyone that had been quiet, and I was giving the ratings for being quiet, and they were starting.
They were telling people that they will go to the Etihad and win, not even take a point, and beat Man City. That Robbie gave that rallying cry at the beginning of the game, like he's a Spartan, bruv. And you got absolutely whacked. Absolutely embarrassed. Then they're going to blame the Saliba injury. Now, I'm sorry, as good as Saliba's been, yeah, to capitulate like you've done because one player's missing. Nah, bro, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
A 21-year-old centre back as well, when playing regularly for the first full season in the Premier League, it shouldn't all hinge on him.
Yeah. Now, again, City have been phenomenal. Yeah, but you've had enough to at least take it to the last game of the season. You then just got slapped. This is the problem. Brighton got clapped by Everton just before. And then the man deservedly sent out a warning. Talk about you will see the real Brighton against Arsenal.
The next game.
Heed your warning. They played Caicedo at right back. Yeah. Mitoma switched sides to terrorise Ben White. Yeah? Trossard comes on and gives them a goal like he's still playing for Brighton. And Ramsdale, you know, team of the season, Ramsdale. Yeah, don't get me started on this fraud, bro. Do not get me started on that fraud. Yeah, and Kyrgios fixing his boot rather than defend first.
That's criminal. That's absolutely criminal.
But did you hear Michael Richards not pleading for them that there was a little kick in there and the goal shouldn't have been allowed and what? I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Either you've got two options, right? You either get up and defend the header, or you stay down and you leave the pitch and you don't come back on because you act like you're really injured, bro. Because you cannot be fixing your boot, yeah, mid-game when nothing's wrong with you. But he should have played dead. He should have played dead and sent it to VAR or whatever, or maybe just come off and say, yeah, come back on crutches, bro, to say, you know what, it was a real injury because you look like an absolute clown. Absolute clown. And there was talk about Saka, and we know about Dubul Dee who compares Saka to Foden. Saka's not in Foden's league, bro. But the man had a great half season. Where has he been for the last 2-3 months, bro?
He's tired, bro.
He's tired, bro. Arteta has worn him out, bro.
Yep.
He's burnt. Yeah.
You're playing a man that was one of England's main players at the forefront of England's World Cup campaign, and you're starting him away in the FA Cup against Preston.
But remember,
you've got a league to go and win.
Ramsdale was the best keeper in the league. Saliba was the best centre back in the world. Yeah. Ben White was the best right back in the league. Thomas Partey was the best DM.
Don't forget Zinchenko. He's in they were putting him in team of the seasons from time ago.
Yeah, the great leader Zinchenko, who ain't stopped balling since the Liverpool game. Yeah, and Jesus.
You know, people are actually, like Bet365 were actually putting odds on when Zinchenko was going to cry. I'm joking. But
remember, Martinelli, Saka, and
Nketiah
was the new MSN. Okay, cool.
Mate, listen, I'm not trying to be funny, but I seem to remember when they signed that Nicolas Pepe and this guy on AFTV before a Liverpool game, he said Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Pepe are going to be better.
Yeah, going to be better than Mane, Salah, and Firmino.
Right. Okay. These are the type of fans that we have to deal with, but. Look,
even now, they're saying that Saka is better than Vinicius. This is what's going on. So it's not even just a Foden thing. It's better than Vinicius.
Honestly,
you have to back them for the confidence the way they back their players. No other fan base gasses their players like them.
The Croydon De Bruyne, where is he? The Croydon De Bruyne.
He's meant to have had a bust up with Arteta about.
He's about to go Villa. Villa couldn't come back for another bid, but he's going Villa. He's gone. But the thing is, listen. You have to give Arsenal. I rate Arsenal for the progression that they've made.
Yeah, it's not a great season. It's just the manner that it's happened.
And
but is it a great season?
It's not a great season. It's a very good season. It's not a great season because they've ended up with no trophies, bigger fish to fry, and all them nonsense. But at the same time,
vast improvements,
vast improvements, and this is the time now that they back Arteta in the transfer market in the summer and go big on 2 to 3 players, and then you get a couple more to supplement the squad and that. But if they're going to be serious, serious contenders to City, because remember, everyone, Dubul Dee might not agree, but everyone's expecting Liverpool to come back and challenge City next season. So if you're going to be part of that pack, you need to be serious. Declan Rice, Caicedo, and a proper striker, whatever you need to do.
They're talking Cancelo now as well.
They're talking Cancelo, they're talking Gundogan. Like, listen, let's see how serious they are, though, innit? Let's see how serious they are.
Apparently, Cancelo's in a bit of trouble. I don't know how true this is. Apparently, he's in a bit of trouble at Bayern Munich now because apparently he's been leaking team sheets to to various news outlets.
Yeah, they were saying that from a while ago, weren't they? That would be madness if that's true. That's
Problem child.
Problem child. Absolute madness.
But look, I just want to put some perspective here because obviously, look, when Arteta got the job, we said it on this pod. In fact, the week before he got the job, we were talking to Rodri about it, and we were like, the next Arsenal manager needs to be given time because Emery came in very similar situation to David Moyes in the fact that he was the guy that replaced the legendary manager.
Legend, yeah.
So to be the next man or the successor comes with a lot of baggage and a lot of pressure. Now, granted, I think Emery was far more qualified than David Moyes to take over a job, of that magnitude. That being said, Arteta got the job. He won the FA Cup in 2020? Was it 2020? COVID, wasn't it? When they won the cup final. Yeah.
Was it the COVID? Whenever they did
it. 3 years ago, right? But in the time he's been at Arsenal, he spent close to half a billion. Close to $500 million, right? And this is the closest they've been. Now, all right, I agree they've had a good season because they've exceeded expectations from a lot of their fans who at the beginning of the season said, we'll be happy with top four. And yeah, they were challenging to a certain point. Realistically, I didn't think they were going to win the title because as City do what they do best, they go through a bit of a bad patch, December, January. But then after that, it is fucking sixth gear and there's no stopping them. And they haven't lost a game since, I think, Brentford at home. I think it was Brentford the last time they lost a home game.
That was before the World Cup, yeah.
And ironically, the last time Man City lost a home game in the Champions League was when Arteta was in charge for one game against Lyon because Pep was out. I think his mum passed away. So that's the last time seeing when Arteta. Anyway, so that's my joke aside. But yes, they have made progress, but I don't mean to sound like Lee Gunner here, but I can understand what he says. Well, what is the process? Because they keep saying trust the process and there's different stages. But what is next? Because for me, and I remember doing a podcast with you guys, it was in 2021. It was a season review pod, and we were talking about Spurs getting into the Champions League final. So, well, if Spurs win the Champions League, what's next? Because that for me, getting to the Champions League final was as far as Pochettino could ever take them. Win, lose, or draw. Well, not draw, but you know what I mean, right? Is it a case with Arteta now that second place is as far as he could take them? Because even if they do win a cup, League Cup or FA Cup, I still think they're too far behind, man.
He's got an FA Cup already in it, but you mean in terms of a full season?
So let's say next season. What's
next season?
Best case scenario from next season?
To me, I think it will be solidify a top 3 place, and get to the latter stages of the Champions League and win a domestic cup. Because the expectation...
That's the minimum, right? That's the minimum.
Minimum,
right.
But the expectation can't be to win the league. I'm sorry, as long as Pep Guardiola's here, you can't expect to win the league. You can do it, as Klopp has proven, but you can't expect to win the league. So Arsenal maybe their fans can expect a challenge for the league, like they did this season. Maybe take it a bit further. But remember, Liverpool are going to be stronger. Newcastle are going to be stronger. United are going to be stronger. Chelsea can't be as crap as they have been. Forget Spurs, but you know what I mean. It's going to be an interesting. Teams are going to be. It's going to be a lot harder for them to solidify second place than they have done this season. So, the top 3 place, get out of the group stage of the Champions League. Remember, this is the first time back in years. Arteta's first campaign in the Champions League, and then win a domestic cup. But the problem these managers have, apart from say Klopp or whatever, because he's got credit in the bank, the problem is, when are you expected to win the league as long as Pep Guardiola's here? I'm not saying they will do it again next season, but as long as he's here, remember, City are the benchmark. Like, you have to get plus 90 points to even start thinking about winning the league. Yeah? They're such a dominant force. They're going to be there or thereabouts next season. What is anybody's team's objectives? Nobody should really expect to win the league as long as he's here. So, what constitutes a success and failure, like you said, for Arteta next season? So, now they're expected to qualify for the Champions League season in, season out now, and bring in reinforcements to have them European ready, Champions League ready, and you have to take these cup competitions seriously. Yeah, because they're not in a position to snub the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup or when they were in Europa and they whatever bigger fish to fight. You're not in that position. Yeah, secure silverware and maintain your league position. That's what they need to do.
And the thing is, there's this element of snobbery. And look, obviously, a lot of Man United fans years ago, you know, when we were playing the likes of York City and Coventry, we didn't want the League Cup, you know, because we were challenging for bigger honours. And this season, you hear the debate who's having a better season, Man United or Arsenal. So if I think Rio Ferdinand said it on his podcast, United have had a better season if they're in top 4 because they've won a trophy. And I agree with him because for me, it goes back to the old adage with Pochettino, how all these Spurs fans were saying, oh, you know, we're playing fantastic football. And I'm like, well, there's nothing tangible there. Yeah, you've got great memories in terms of style of play and Dele Alli scoring wonder goals and yada, yada, yada. But what have you won?
Yeah.
And it goes back to the same thing with Arsenal. Yeah, they've made progress. Don't get me wrong. But I think next season is make or break for Arteta. Personally, I believe anyway. They have to win something. You can't justify spending close to $500 million, right, and not winning any trophies in 3 years. For me, it's unacceptable. And the other thing I will say, and maybe this will come back to bite me, I think as long as Edu is there, Arteta's safe. Yeah. Because Arteta is Edu's guy. I don't think Edu will be the guy to get rid of Arteta. I think if Edu ever leaves Arsenal, that shows you that the wheels are in motion to get rid of Arteta. But then again, would that be Kroenke effectively throwing in the towel on something that he's believed in? Because obviously they've stuck with Arteta through everything. And yeah, he's got them into a decent league position. But that could be just papering over the cracks.
There's going to be a point in time when Arsenal are going to have to really sit back and think, right, is Arteta the guy to take us from second to first? Yeah. Are they going to be ruthless enough to cut him? And also, if they do, who is that guy to take this Arsenal club? Because no disrespect to Spurs, but it's easier for Spurs to bring in a Jose Mourinho with his anti-football or pragmatic style of play to bring that to the Emirates, because they will not have it. They will not have it.
Of course they won't, because in the period they went without winning trophies, especially when Twitter kicked in over here, they were giving themselves like honorary trophies for playing the best football in the Premier League, although Chelsea and Man United and Man City were the teams winning the league. So football's huge.
Who's going to be the manager to maintain a good style of football and improve on what Arteta's done and take them to that next step of actually winning the league or the Champions League? Who's it going to be? Because it's not like there's bags of managers out there that can do both. Yeah, there's a handful. Yeah, well, 2. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, when did they start to think, right? It's similar to what Newcastle will eventually face when if Eddie Howe stays there for another couple of years and he doesn't deliver a trophy. When are they going to be ruthless enough to say, you know what, we need to move on now and take that next step up? Like, it's you know, don't go in. It could take Arteta could bag a trophy, could bag the league next season. You know, we don't know. But if not, when are they going to say, okay, rather than sack him when he's doing really, really bad, tell him to move on because there's a next guy who we think can take us to the next step. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you do? It's like when City, they sacked Mark Hughes, they got Mancini. Mancini won the league, but they win it next season. And they got rid of him, got Pellegrini, won the league, and the next season didn't. Obviously, they were waiting for Pep, and they knew, but it was easy for them because Pep wanted to come, and Pep was the guy. Yeah? Who is the guy now? Other than Pep, who is the guy that's available? Not available now, but will be available in 1 or 2 years to say, all right, I'm ready to take, you know, the Arsenal challenge. Like, it's all good now, but couple years down the end of next season, you never know. You never know.
All jokes aside, obviously, being a Liverpool fan, having family and friends that are dominated by Arsenal, Man United fans, I didn't want Arsenal to win the league, but to be honest, I didn't want City to win the league either. Though, do you know what I'm disappointed in? Though, at the same time that I didn't want them to win the league, the fact that you can have been top for so long and you're not even, this race is not even going to go to the final day. That's that's wild to think of the amount of points dropped. And when you name the fixtures as well, that's worse. Believe it, obviously, when you go for a title, no game is actually easy.
Yeah.
Because obviously mentality of that as well. But it's like as though you're not even going to take this to the last day. It seems like a massive. At the same time, I can sit there and think,
that's the thing. City
massive anticlimax.
City have got some. The last two games City have are not.
They're not easy games.
So you could have been in with, had you beaten Brighton,
yeah,
you could have still been in with a shout.
Right, but look how many other chances. That's the thing though as well. When you see in terms of the lack of age and experience in the squad, because 4 games not winning here, obviously the draw with Liverpool, draw with West Ham, draw with Southampton, and the loss against City. But when City beat them earlier in the year at the Emirates as well, they didn't win 3 games around that as well. So that's one thing next season. When they get punched in the face, they need to react better. Because as you're saying, if all those teams improve, United obviously included in that as well, you could go from being in the title race until May into they could end up 4th or 5th next season.
Do they lack natural leaders? I think Vieira spoke about it in his thing, but
they do. You do.
100%.
They get to galvanize the troops enough. They need some people in there.
But they've had that problem since 2004.
Yeah,
right. Even when they lost their unbeaten record at United, right? They still had those leaders, but United battered them physically, and they didn't like it. And that Arsenal team was always soft, great team, but they were soft throughout the team. Obviously you had the Keown and Lehman and a couple others, Vieira, and even he was soft sometimes. But you had the players around them. But I look at the Arsenal team, I'm thinking, where are the winners? Where are the winners? Who in that Arsenal squad? Okay, you can say Jesus and Zinchenko have won.
Yeah, they just got them in it.
But they were role players at City.
They were not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with Jorginho. So where are the winners? But the thing is, they talk about credit in the bank, right? And I want to use Klopp as an example here because Klopp, I think in his first season, not the first full season, but his first season, I think Liverpool finished 8th.
Yeah.
Right?
Finished 8th, lost 2 finals.
Yeah. But aside from that season, they haven't finished outside of the top 4. They haven't. Right. And I seem to remember his first full season, Liverpool finished 4th. And I was speaking to my friend Robbie, who's a big Liverpool fan. And I said, well, what's making you happy about Klopp? He goes, I can see progress. We haven't won anything yet, but I can see progress.
Yeah.
The thing is with Arteta, it's almost as if it's the opposite in the sense that he won a trophy in like the first full season and they haven't done anything since. But the thing is with Klopp,
it was half a season,
that's right.
When they got rid of him.
That's right. Whereas with Klopp, if Liverpool finish outside the top 4 this season, which I still think they're going to make it, even if they do. Well, look, even if you do finish 5th, right? You could still say that, granted, you didn't win anything this season, but in the time that Klopp has been there, you've won
every trophy.
Everything.
And this is the thing still as well, why it was Terry Flewers, he said something to the group. He said this Liverpool won't be go down as a legendary team or whatever, but the only other manager in the Premier League era that's won everything that they've been at a club is Alex Ferguson. So if you go on the facts there, if you don't think Liverpool are the best, I don't care about that. But to say you can't even put them in the argument is pathetic. And this guy is huge within like the sports media thing, regardless of being a Man United fan or not. It's like, come on, let's be realistic here. I mean,
do you want me to go there? Do you want me to go there when his missus said beginning of last season, that Leicester would finish above Liverpool?
Oh, yeah. But they were the only one. There was a guy that comes on the Football Terrorist. I think he's a Chelsea fan. He said the same. He was saying the same thing. And we're going to come 5th and all this. And I kicked up a rave last season. I think one of our pod and naming people as well. That's what they do every season. Savagely disrespect the team, regardless of what we do.
Exactly. So my point is, right, you could say, Liverpool have spent, especially this season, bringing in Gakpo and Nunez, which I think Nunez will come good. I mean, one of my friends, David Badia, who's a coach in Poland, he coached Nunez when he had a spell at Almeria with what's his name? Guti. Guti was head coach. And he even told me on another podcast that, this lad, even at a young age, you could see he had that predatory instinct, and it will take him a bit of time to get used to the Premier League. And obviously he started a bit slow. He got sent off against Crystal Palace. And but I tell you
that's
what,
why I'm so hard on him still, because before he got sent off, he missed 2 really good chances. You know what I'm saying?
I actually think
he's having problems. He's having, but Klopp was saying the other day, he's not picking up English as fast as some other people have picked up English. So hopefully that all comes into play next season. And
Suarez was the same. Suarez was the same.
Listen, I said,
yeah, but Suarez, but in terms of finishing, yes, it was the same thing. But Suarez was much more polished in all the other areas of the game.
Yeah, but
work rate, dribbling past people.
He's going to give you Suarez vibes, bro. He's a mix between Torres and Suarez, bro. And I think you'll see it next season, bro. When he's fully settled, he's going to be
Torres thing natural.
No. It's something about he's something about his build and the way he makes the runs, like. And when he gets going, but he's got the movement of Suarez, not like Suarez.
Oh, he never goes into hiding. When his endeavour, his industry, his goal, things always happen when he's on the football pitch. Yeah. But you can see the fact that Jota hadn't scored for so long, coming back after injury, and then he got ahead of him. And Jota, when he's in a run, it's goals and assists. You get what I'm saying? So but all it does is spell better things, whether it's Europa League or not, for next season in terms of the squad and in terms of goals. I'm not worried about the forward line. It's about whether or not that midfield is going to be consistent, because Fabinho has only just started playing again in like the last 6 to 8 games, because Curtis Jones is in there, and defensively as well. If we can hold out, then we'll be back challenging. But you can't.
No, I think they'll back him. I think they'll back him in the summer. I really do, because they know that obviously with Newcastle, with their financial clout, with United, obviously they're going to spend in the summer. Arsenal, Chelsea. I don't think FSG are going to sit back this time. And as I said, going back to the whole Arteta situation, no one can say that Arteta has got credit in the bank, so to speak, which is why it's unjustified for people to say. I've heard Liverpool fans, I use that term loosely, Liverpool fans saying Klopp out. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, this guy has won you everything. These are probably the same people that wanted Benitez to stay, right? But yet Klopp has done more than what Benitez did at Liverpool, right? And it shocks me to think that you're going to want to sack the most successful coach that you've had since 1990.
And this is the state of affairs. And as you've pointed out with United's still, in terms of the revenue that they can extract and the money and the advertisement, etc., and endorsements from social media, fans have a massive say in terms of what's going on today. And even when you look at FSG, they've made some mistakes and they've corrected it because of the backlash that has started on social media, that has then led to people talking about protesting, etc. You get me? Whether it have been when COVID hit. And they let people off, etc. There's been numerous different things. And that's how much power they have. But I'll tell you this, though, and it's not even just because Dee's here, Newcastle to be feared, because even Lee Gunner was saying the other day on Rance's thing, they're basically at the start, they're basically fast-tracked into stage 2. And look at what even if they come 5th, because I told people when the season started, I said Newcastle are going to get to Europe. I said the thing, because I'm thinking if anyhow can do I'm not going to say that they're bums, but do what he did last season. Because remember, they did spend money, but when you're spending 10 million on Dan Burn and 25 million on Chris Wood, it's not like they're going to Europe to go get this next poster boy or anything like that. So they spent money to get the points they generated there. I was saying, these men could get into Europe this season, and it's frightening because they're not going to spend stupidly, but when they just do decide to go splash out, they add that. If those players mix, they can be very, 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 very dangerous. So that fan base, it's on that ground. Like, even though obviously Arsenal got 2-0 ahead, they were still loud as hell. And I've been Anfield when we've been behind, and they ain't been as loud. They've been, obviously Newcastle got great capacity, but they've not been as loud as that. So yeah, dangerous team. And I don't think, in terms of the way they got him with Emery not coming, I don't think they're going to make any rash decisions on how, unless do get me.
Bro, we've seen in the past. We've seen in the past the likes of Barcelona go to Newcastle on a Wednesday night in December and get absolutely pulverized.
We were talking about the other day in the group chat.
So it's not a nice place. I've been to that part of the world, honestly, and it's grim. Like, the weather is grim. And that stadium as well, it can be. And look, they are allowed fan base, you know, home and away. So it's not a great place to go. But I don't know. There's something about this Arsenal that seems very, very plastic for me. You know, from these ultras, from these banners that they bring in the stadium, from their TV channel, AFTV, which has now flip flopped into this ultra positive kind of fan channel now, probably because they've got access to a lot of players and stuff, which is quite remarkable, really. But again, I think, look, I'm going to stick my neck out, and again, this might bite me in the arse. But if next season, if by December the season isn't going the way that the fans want, Arteta will be gone, and Edu will be gone as well.
I heard that before, I heard that by, I think it might have been that League Gunner reckon that you're going to be gone by Christmas, but
trust the process.
Who knows? Football's a funny old game, but we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, look, boys, one more thing before we wrap it up, and we spoke about the top four race last week. I'm not going to do that again. I want to talk about the relegation dogfight now, because obviously Southampton are down. Very quickly, who do you guys think will join them? Because Leicester are down there on 30 points, Leeds are on 31, Everton on 32, Forest are on 34. Who do you think is going to join Southampton?
I sadly think Leicester might be gone. And the reason why I say sadly is because if they do, I'm not sure when they're going to come back, because especially attacking wise. And then even if you go in there, I think Soyuncu's going Atletico on a 3 at the back. Pereira, I'd be surprised if someone didn't pick him up. And it's a shame about the injuries, because I've always seen him as really good going forward. But he'd actually, before that mad injury he'd made the most amount of tackles in the league before he went out. So he's trying to put in the work at both ends and whatnot. They will lose. I picture them losing a lot of players, and I don't know. That's a harsh league. The Championship is a crazy league. I think they might end up being down there for a couple of seasons, even if the likes of Vardy stay. Can't see Maddison saying, hope it is us that get him, because we need an English player for the quota, because Milner and, or at least one, Milner and Ox, as contracts are running out. So I think Leicester sadly will go. And then, is it going to be Forest?
No, but Forest will secure safety at the weekend against Arsenal. Yeah. And they'll just
wait, so you're saying City aren't even going to have to win their game to win the league?
No, they won't. They won't. And it's Leeds that's going to go down. Leeds are going to go down, because Leicester will go down, because we're going to seal their fate on Monday night. We'll beat them at St. James's, and that's them done.
So Everton are going to have enough, yeah?
I think Everton will have enough, because Leeds got to play. Well, this is it, because Leeds play West Ham at the weekend.
Yeah.
And if they could get that and then take the last game, I don't know who Everton got at the weekend, but
Everton have got Wolves away.
I think Everton win that. Very
good at home.
And then they've got Bournemouth at home.
I would prefer for Everton to go down rather than Leeds. Yeah. But I think Bournemouth are on the beach anyway. So, and then I think Leeds have got Spurs on the last game of the season.
Spurs, yeah.
And Spurs are rubbish. Spurs are. They will deal with Leeds. So, but it's at Leeds, right?
It's at Leeds, yeah.
Ooh, big Sam Master. I don't know,
Well, bro, bearing in mind that if West Ham get through tomorrow, they'll be in a Europa final, a Conference League final, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think they're going to go full pelt on Sunday? They're safe, aren't they? Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And you know what Spurs are like. You say boot them, they shit their pants. And those Leeds fans, if they're in with a chance of staying up, they're going to be fucking rowdy as fuck. Right?
All right. Leicester are down. They're down.
Yeah.
Don't Leicester still have to play Liverpool as well?
No, we just played them on Monday.
You just played them.
That's what, because we beat them. Because I feared that game. Because we beat them. That's why I'm saying it looks done now.
You played them at Anfield.
Yeah, we won 2-1 only because FaZe scored 2 own goals.
Yes.
We were poor.
But they got slapped.
But yeah, the Monday was it should have been about 6.
They're not beating Newcastle at St James's, especially if by some miracle Newcastle beat Brighton tomorrow. They will slap Leicester on Monday. But Leicester are down, and the other two is tight. What's the points difference between Everton and Leeds?
Leeds 1 point. It's only 1 point.
So it's going to go down to the last game of the season. You know what? I think it stays the same. I think Everton maybe survive by a point. Who's got a better goal difference?
It's so tight, man.
It's Everton by one.
One goal, you know. It's peak as well down there. 31, 32, 34.
I think the league needs Everton to go down, man. I know they're traditional.
For real.
Get out of there, man.
so no derby for us.
Yeah, man. I like Leeds, man. I don't mind Leeds, but then I can't stand Southampton. But he ain't got to stay. But
the thing is, Wolves and Bournemouth are on the beach now, man. That's the thing. They're on the beach.
Bournemouth have done brilliantly because I didn't think they'd be able to. They strongly deserve that.
Yeah.
They strongly deserve it as well.
Everton will stay up. They're gonna stay up. Everton are gonna do it. They're gonna do it. It's gonna be
that 5-1 battering of Brighton was the worst thing that could, as Dean was saying earlier, worst thing that could have happened to for Arsenal, bruv. Because then they're going to go into it. They're going to think, we're going to smash these guys. And then City go and beat Everton. And they would have had hope because the goals came so late in the first half. They just look.
Well, I'll tell you what, do you remember when Everton played Bournemouth in November? I think Lampard was manager at the time. And they got walloped 3-0.
Yeah,
and they went to their fans and the fans were booing them and everything. Yeah.
It won't be through his shirt. They threw his shirt back at him and whatnot. It was a madness.
Can you imagine if they play Bournemouth at home and they lose, which sends them down at Goodison? Can you imagine what that's going to be like?
Riots. Remember how they went on the pitch and they were troubling Vieira when they stayed up last season against Palace? It will be a madness, bro. And if Everton go down, I can't see a Wobie, Calvert-Lewin. If they keep Dyche as manager, the likes of McNeil and Tarkowski and Keane will stay loyal to Dyche.
Just a game will go.
Even Pickford will know, even if it's a number 2 in Prem, he'd have to leave to still be in England's first choice. I'd say Spurs keeper next season will probably be David Raya or Pickford, isn't it? If Everton go down, that is. If not, obviously he'll stay there. So it's really mad. It's really mad.
So who are we going with to go down?
Leicester and Leeds.
I
think Leeds are gonna go down.
I don't know. I think Arsenal might just take it will be 2-0 too late. Arsenal might just take their anger out on Forest. Though Forest have got, for when they're on the table, they've got good home records.
Forest will be cool. Forest will be cool. They'll be cool.
Okay. Well, do you know what? I'm gonna. I don't know, because the thing is, I can see Leeds beating West Ham, right? Because obviously West Ham are playing on Thursday, and again, this might bite me on the arse. I can see Leeds beating West Ham. It's just that Spurs game because we know what Spurs are like. They're bipolar. They could be great, but then they could be shit as well. But the thing is, again, last day of the season, Leeds needing to win. They're at home.
Exactly. If any team could crack in that scenario, it's Leeds. Newcastle pumped these man with 10 men, bruv.
I know.
When it 5-1.
Yeah, bro.
So, and last day of the season, not an implosion, but whatever, it could be Tottenham. Especially if Mason looks at it like, look, if we're here in this Europa Conference League position, we'll give some people a game to see what they can do next season. Then, it could, Allardyce could go there. Because remember, under Jesse Marsh, it was 3-3 at Tottenham Stadium when they played earlier on this season.
I went to that game. I was there.
Oh, you were there, yeah. Rodrigo. Oh, yeah, you were saying Kulusevski was doing madness, isn't it? Because what's his fit? Rodrigo.
They ended up winning 3-2, didn't it? It's 3-2 or 4-3 Spurs won. Forgot the final result, but they ended up winning.
Leeds?
Yeah, against Leeds, Spurs ended up
3-3. It was 3-3.
No.
Spurs won it again, didn't they?
Yeah.
Didn't they win it 4-3 in the last minute or something like that?
4-3, yeah.
Let me double check.
Yeah, they definitely won.
The frustrating thing about this whole situation is that they've got both Everton and Leeds got the same amount of wins, 7, right? Everton have scored 32 goals. Leeds have scored 46. But Leeds have conceded 71 and Everton have conceded 56. So Everton concede less, but Leeds score more.
Benten currently ND 4-3. Yeah. I was thinking it was 3-3. I just remember Rodrigo scored 2 blackout goals for Leeds, boy. Tottenham missed Benten Kerr, boy. That's not even his job, but when Kane wasn't scoring, he was carrying them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah,
But
Leeds. We're going with Leeds and Leicester still.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go because I can see Everton beating Wolves away. Wolves have got the deck chairs out, and Bournemouth. All right, Bournemouth are gonna give it a go, but
Yeah.
if Everton only need a point to stay up, then I think they'll do it. And Allardyce, you know, but he'll kabaddi ball it. Kabaddi ball it. So, yeah. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. It's been a great show again. Thank you for your time. And plug your shit.
Go True D.
Boy, as usual, catch us on the D&D Footy Factory on Top FM at 95.5 every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. On the Twitter at DD Footy Factory _. My personal one is IlPhenomenal25, phenomenal with an F. If you can't spell it, you can't follow me.
R9, the greatest striker of all time.
You know it.
All time. yeah. At Dubul Dee, DUBULDEE, and then all the same handles that D-Man said. Saturday mornings, baby.
Well, D, I'm going to have to congratulate you for beating me in FPL this week.
It's not over yet, though.
Yeah, but look, you're
your captain, so if Isak does a madness.
Yeah, but you're on 74 and I'm on 61.
And you got Pope in goal, and haven't you got Trippier as well?
Yeah.
So if Isak gets a couple of goal contributions and
and you got Mitoma.
And Newcastle keep a clean sheet. Yeah, but he's played Mitoma, so if you
Newcastle keep what? Newcastle.
If Newcastle keep a clean sheet, then you'll win because he's got Trippier and Pope in it. But that's a joke, though. You've not seen the goals recently. You're still going to end up with the best defense.
Look, I'm going to need Pope to save a penalty, right? Save 4 shots, keep a clean sheet, and hope that Isak gets on the score sheet. And with
I don't even know if Mitoma will defo start because De Zerbi's saying because of the amount of games left in the quest for Europe, he might rotate again tomorrow. Even Robert Sanchez, which probably means he's leaving next season, he'll be the latest man linked to Man United, isn't travelling, so still will be in goal at least. So I need still to get a clean sheet. So the best result for us lot is a 0-0 draw, basically, even though we've got attackers from both teams, because then you know at the back you're going to get the points. But it is what it is. I'm annoyed I've not got a Superman anymore. I'm going to go and get the cheapest goal and assist I've ever seen. Well, I'm just happy because I've been talking about the football Brighton player. People thought I was having it on when in terms of saying that
you did, yeah.
You go pound for pound. That if you look at the names, I'd go for them playing the best footy in Premier. And outside Liverpool, that's who I'd go to watch. What they did on Sunday, even I couldn't believe it. I knew they could play it out from the back, but to come and dominate Arsenal territorial-wise at the Emirates like that.
Tomorrow they come up against a proper pressing team. Tomorrow they come up a proper pressing team. Let's see them try to play them stripping us out the back.
Jason Still's got 3 men around him and he's just passing the ball like he's a centre mid and whatnot. I'm like, what's going on?
You think Isak ain't intercepting that, bro? Okay. Yeah, we'll see.
What you saying? So Chado right back can't run against Newcastle, yeah?
Are you mad? Listen, they better pray Jacob Murphy's not fit, yeah?
Excellent. Well, to be continued, I guess. Hopefully we'll do this again next week and maybe I'll be climbing up the table. I'm fucking 12th in your league. Jesus Christ. I started off so well, man.
It happens, but you know,
I was in the top 1,000,000 in the UK in the first 5 games of the season.
This is the thing with the head. This is why it's so much luck in regards to the order you get people. Because, for instance, D is under coach in the head-to-head league, but overall points, D-Man has well over 100 more points than coach classic points-wise. I'm ahead of coach as well, classic points-wise, and I'm like, I think 15th or 16th in the head table after coming 5th last season. So, yeah, so it's a mad one still. There's a lot of luck needed in terms of the order of your opponents.
For me, the most important thing is I'm on top of Rodri in our league. D-Man, you need to join us next season.
Who the money killer?
Yeah.
Your money killer.
Rodri's bottom of our league. He's 500 points behind me. 500 points. You know,
is he alive? Good lord.
and he's still got Ivan Toney in his team. Oops, I'm not going to go into that.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Anyway. We'll be back next week, boys and girls. Follow us on Twitter at Shoot Defense. Like, subscribe, tell your family members who actually give a shit about football. And we'll be back very soon. Thank you. Take care. Good.